is Mr. Rick Kobak Song. Is He was a previous poet in residence at the National Gallery and has written extensively. He's a very well trained person. Was trained at NUS here and then went on to Cambridge and also at Harvard. And has written a lot of books also on, besides poetry, also on branding, One United People. So, Rick Ko, we are ready to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Ihyok. And hello, everyone. What I'm going to do is to read just one poem, and I'm going to try to focus my reflections on the connections between poetry and the unquiet mind around this poem. Let me just right. This is the poem that I'm going to read. It's titled Mango Harvest. And for the background of this slide, I've chosen the mango color. I never realized before that this is actually quite a soothing shade. Now, this poem, Mango Harvest, is one of 60 poems in my second collection of poetry titled The World of Wonder, which was published in 2001. It's one of 9 books of mine that feature poetry. The collection is divided into 3 sections. The first section, titled Singapore, are poems about places in Singapore. The second section of the book, titled Outside, are poems from my travels to places ranging from the Lake District in England to Iceland to Mount Fuji, which I will be revisiting next week. The third section of the book is titled Inside, and the poems in this section, where this poem Mango Harvest is located, are poems about the inner life. And I found a quote from the British American poet W.H. Auden, which encapsulates this idea. And this is the quote. I'm quoting W.H. Auden. Choice of attention. To pay attention to this and ignore that is to the inner life what choice of action is to the outer. Now, this poem is actually a tribute to my father-in-law, William Neo. His name, this is not verified because I can't ask him anymore. But I guess he was probably named after the actor, the American actor William Holden, won the Academy Award in 1953. My father-in-law, William, was diagnosed with cancer at almost exactly 40 years ago. And after his surgery, he was given 6 months to live. During this period, when he was recuperating at home, he planted a mango tree in a small garden in his house. And he passed away in the summer of 1985. I'm going to read the poem and then tell you a bit about the artistic intent behind the poem. Mango Harvest. Lushness of leaves cannot hide this legacy of extravagant announcement. It is harvest time again, and 200 mangoes present a dilemma of flesh. Full flavor comes from expectant restraint, as waiting for wholeness courts the torments of tempest and pest. Plucking before season is the only escape, but gives no more than three-quarter sweetness of near maturity. Strength of spirit cannot resist life's untimely disjuncture. Such is ripeness portion from these periodic fruit of the planter's pains. Gratitude is all. This poem, A Mango Harvest, is the first of many more poems that I would want to write around the nature themes. And yesterday was the International Day of Forests and also World Poetry Day. How apt, because the NUS Mind Science Center has always embraced this bond between nature and wellness. In this poem, I am using mangoes and the harvesting of them as an extended metaphor. Now, trees are, of course, the best symbol of legacy in nature. It is often said that those who plant trees are providing shade for future generations, which they themselves may not enjoy. My father-in-law did enjoy a bit of the shade, but not much. And there's, of course, the fruit from these trees, which is the richest part of that legacy. There are a couple of Shakespearean references in this poem. In stanza 2, there's the use of the word tempest, which is an allusion to the Shakespearean play The Tempest. And in stanza 4, the use of the word ripeness, which is from the play King Lear. And the last line of the play is a rephrasing of probably one of the most famous lines from that play, King Lear, gratitude is all. My father-in-law, William, had this favorite phrase of his, which was, it's nature's way. It was his way of explaining the natural rhythm of life, which is impossible to deter. The poem tries to capture and to express this our human struggles with the transience of life, which is an inescapable aspect of existence. It's at the heart of the human condition, which is the purpose of all poetry, and it's also a perennial theme of all verse. One of its most often used and most evocative images from nature is the sakura, the cherry blossom, and the national flower of Japan, which I hope to be able to see on my trip there to Japan next week. Now, these reflections of life were further extended into the rest of my writing of poetry since the year 2001, and definitely into the COVID-19 pandemic years between 2020 and 2022. And out of that period, I had actually 4 books emerged from that, and two of them include books that have poetry and also haiga, which is a Japanese art form combining haiku with a visual art element. One of the books is titled Around the World in 68 Days. It's a book about a trip around the world to 13 countries in 68 days. And also the book, my latest book of poetry titled The World Anew, which includes 32 poems from my time as the poet in residence at the National Gallery Singapore between 2021 and 2022. Out of these most recent reflections, I came to be quite fascinated by the Japanese concept called Ichigo Ichie, which is spelled ICHIGO ICHIE, Ichigo Ichie. roughly translated, it means one life, one moment. And the idea is to cherish every moment of our lives, because more often than we realize, every encounter turns out to be a once in a lifetime opportunity. And it struck me that this idea of Ichigo Ichie is in some ways the opposite of the well-known phrase and idea of carpe diem, which is well-known, especially in Western culture. The idea of a carpe diem is to seize the day by practically forgetting about the future, at least for today. But for Ichigo Ichie, it is almost the opposite. It is to seize the day precisely because we are mindful, more mindful of the future, how unpredictable, how transient, and therefore how precious today is. So hence, there's no way we can know the future. All we can do is to be mindful, as this poem ends, with the knowledge and keeping close to this idea that gratitude is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.